So I think there's a mistake on the bill, but maybe you could help me out. We got a bill, and then we realized that you guys didn't have our insurance, so we sent you the insurance, and it looks like the bill went up.
It went up?
Yeah, the first bill we got without the insurance was $600, and then the second one was almost $1,300.
Okay. Yeah, so that the first invoice you received, that's a discount that you receive if you're uninsured. So you're not eligible for the discount since you are insured. And so the bill was $2,342.14. We billed your insurance. Your insurance only paid $1,078.85.
Can I go back to the discount without the insurance?
No, so you're insured, so you're not eligible for the discount.
If I go cancel my insurance, am I eligible for the discount?
No, sir, because we check eligibility and you do have active coverage for data service.
Oh, I needed to cancel it before I got the service to get the discount.
You're only eligible for the discount if you're uninsured.
Okay, so I'll get cheaper health care if I'm uninsured.
If you're uninsured, you're eligible for the discount, correct?
Is this common? Like I pay for insurance and I end up paying more out of pocket because I pay for a premium? That's wild.
No, this is just a new law that started 2024 AB 716, and the law is if you receive a discount if you're uninsured.
Okay.
So when we first send a invoice to the patient, we bill them as if they're uninsured. If you're insured, unfortunately, you're not eligible for the discount.
Okay, so just if I have the incentives straight here, if I want to pay less for medical care, I should cancel my insurance if my daughter needs life-saving medical care?
Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Also, thou son of man, thus saith the Lord power unto the land of Israel, the end is come upon the four corners of the land. Now is the end come upon thee, and I will send mine anger upon thee, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense upon thee all thine abominations. And mine eye shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense thy ways upon thee, and thine abominations shall be in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Thus saith the Lord power, and evil, and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come, the end is come. It watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakodesh. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with a quick lesson, low and be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, now we just read the book of Ezekiel, the 7th chapter. All right, the first verse all the way down to the 6th verse. All right, and pretty much going through the whole entire chapter, all right, of Ezekiel, the 7th chapter, that is. All right, it's pretty much the Lord giving warning through the prophet Ezekiel, all right, to the children of Israel back then. But as we know, all right, right in the book of Ecclesiastes, it tells us that that has been, that which has been is that which shall be. All right, and that which has been done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. All right, roughly paraphrasing, but the point is, history basically repeats itself. But the kind of history that's repeating itself is not the kind that just ends up in a different pattern, so to speak. But this is more of history that repeats itself, but then the end comes while it's repeating itself, if that makes sense, right? So you have two sides of the spectrum. You have those who are of the elect, or the hopeful elect, that is, who are paying attention to these things and watching the signs very closely, because we know that certain things have to take place for us to see the end of this man's kingdom, for us to see the end of America as we've been waiting for and expecting according to biblical prophecy. Okay, so we are looking at it. All right, we're looking at current events in the lens of prophecy. Okay, or with the lens of prophecy, and we're seeing that these events that's about to take place, not only whatever happens the rest of this year, all right, that leads into so-called 2026, right? we know that 2026 is going to come in with a very heavy vibration. How do we know that? Because the groundwork has been laid from this year. Okay, the groundwork has been laid from this year, 2025. You got things like the Big Beautiful Bill. Okay, you got things like Doge. You have things like Project 2025. I did a lesson on that. Okay, it was a couple of months ago, so I went into that as well. Okay, and then of course you have the concept of Agenda 2030. Okay, all these things are culminating, all right, to a big event or multiple events for 2026. Okay, and of course, as the prophecies are unfolding, all right, you got those who are on the other side of the spectrum who are oblivious to all this stuff. Okay, in the sense that they think life is just going on as normal. They see that the building is on fire, but to them, the fireman is going to come put it out. He always does. So why should I leave the house now? You know, I'm not going to step out. I'm just going to stay here, because if I leave, I'm going to lose everything. And I'm not trying to lose everything. So I'll just stay here. Right? The fireman, I'm waiting for the fireman to come put this fire out. You see? But I'm just going to go about living my regular life. Like ain't nothing going on. You see? Their pockets are hurting. Right? They look up in the horizon. They see bad things are happening. But guess what? It's not just them going through it. So to them, it's not a problem. Everybody's going through it. Oh, well, that's just the system. It'll fix itself. Somebody's going to fix it. Trump is working on it. You see? But the reality is, that's not going to happen. Okay? Like Klaus Schwab says, it is fiction. It will not happen. Right? But speaking of Klaus Schwab, all right, one of these elites of this world who actually have influence in the direction in which the world goes, all right, he's also on the Economist magazine. All right. And today we're going to focus on that. All right. The world ahead in 2026 is basically the topic of the lesson. All right. And it's going to be dissecting the Economist magazine. All right. The edition for 2026. And over the years, you know, they always put stuff out, you know, the Economist magazine. They always put stuff out, you know, pretty much to let people know, or the elites know, what they're working on, what their agenda is, what their plan is, and they do it through art. Okay, but we look at it a little bit different. All right, and this article is going to go into it a little bit. All right, so it says, Economist predicts 2026 chaos, war, plagues, and market crisis. Okay, it says there is one magazine that represents the interests of the global elite more than any other. It is known as The Economist. And each year it puts out an issue that is dedicated to what is coming in the year ahead. All right, because their profits on the left hand side too. Okay, there's something called predictive programming. All right, when they tell you things before they happen, they simulate events. All right, through the TV screen. All right, and that's to, you know, kind of like get you a little acclimated to the concept of that said event. Right, so when it happens in real life, you know, you're most likely going to react just like how you saw when that event happened. And of course, with a little bit of coercion, right, you're going to think that that's okay. You know, that's just the way to go, because everybody's being told to do the same thing, just like the CV thing. We've seen movies that, you know, go into quarantine and, you know, Vanessas and all that, right? We've seen movies like that. We've seen all kinds of movies that leads into draconian measures and all that, you know. So people see these things, and of course the government tells you what to do. People just fall in line. All right, they just fall in line. So the Economist magazine is something most people don't even read. All right, but they have no idea what the hell's going on. Okay, it says, as we have seen so many times before, these issues tend to be alarmingly accurate. The reason why they are so accurate is because the ultra wealthy elite have an enormous amount of influence over the course of human events. If they are absolutely determined to make something happen, there is a good chance that it's going to happen, right? Because that's in Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Okay, so Esau has power. All right, let's get this real quick in the book of let's see. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 4 says, and there went out another horse that was red. All right, the horse represents power, and the red represents Idumea, or Adawam, which is Esau, Edom. Okay, Edom means red. Okay, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Right. So in this article, it's going to mention a great sword. It's going to mention the sword. It's going to mention what that sword is, and the scriptures also mentions the sword. Okay, and we're going to read about that. All right, but where it says, and power was given to him that sat thereon. Right. So going back to Job 9:24, the earth being given into the hands of the wicked. They have power over the earth, and they're not using it for anything good or beneficial. At least that's what they try to portray it like that. All these economists, right? They have all this forums and agendas and agencies and organizations, right? That's what they call organizations, right? There's another one. What's it called? There's another term for it. You have governments, you have organizations, you have industries, agencies. You have another one. There's a specific one. Companies. Isn't it company? Corporation. That's the word. That's the word. Corporations. Okay. These corporations work for stakeholders. All right. Corporations are designed to make money for stakeholders. So when you have a corporation or a corporate monarch come up to you and tell you that I'm doing this for the benefit of all humanity, like these economic forum people have been saying, oh, this is to improve health. This is to improve, society as a whole. This is to improve, the air we breathe, all these different things. Their best interest isn't to make life better for you. When this guy, RFK Jr., right, before he even got involved with this whole Trump thing, he was out there pushing against these Vanessa companies, saying that they shouldn't be mandating people to take it on all these different things. He's against it. He stands against it, right? It came off like he was speaking some type of truth, and we saw right through that. We called him out. We said, hey, no, this guy's just trying to get people to fall asleep so he could just rise up with this whole technocrat shit, right? And then, of course, he pops in and he says, Maha, make America healthy again. Whenever they come up with these slogans, you know that it's death that's involved with it. It's going to be happening through war. All right, psychological warfare, germ warfare, biological warfare, all kinds of warfare, man. Okay? They use deception, all these different things they do. So these corporations, all right, they buy out these politicians. All right, they fund them. They give them something known as donors. Okay, and these politicians then end up making policies, right? And then these policies become bills, and then these bills become law. Okay, and then when they become law, you have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. Meanwhile, it's making them more money. Trump comes in, he says, oh, the biggest tax break on earth. It's going to make Americans, rich again. It's going to bring money into your pockets again. No. All it did was it made these other corporations richer. Okay. All it did was it just made them richer. They don't have to report on certain taxes and certain codes, brackets, and all this. It's just corruption all around the board. Okay. So when it says him that sat thereon to take peace out of the earth, this is part of it. Forming all these corporations that work for these capital stakeholders, and these stakeholders have billions of dollars in everything you do. So RFK is bought by them, Trump is bought by them, all these different people are bought by them. The military is bought by them, the banks, they own it, right? Jamie Dimon, I think he's the biggest banker in America, is what they like for you to believe. Of course, it's the public, that is, right? But he was part of the people that brought down the economy, right? The whole 2008 crisis. He was part of that shit. Okay, he was part of that shit. Look into it. Look in Jamie Dimon interest in Detroit. Just type that into Google and see what you're gonna see. All right, these devils ain't slick, man. Okay, and now look at Detroit. It's like it's all messed up. Why? So they can come in and say, oh, we need to build this capital interests. Fucking devils, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, so now you got Maha, make America healthy again. And then he comes out and says, well, in the next 4 years, all Americans are going to be having a tag, a wearable. That's how it starts, man. And it's not going to happen in 4 years. It happens way earlier than that. But they put that 4 years out there to make some people be oblivious to it. Like, oh, 4 years, who cares? They don't even hear that shit. And then those who pay attention, they see and they be like, yo, 4 years, damn, we got to prepare now. Meanwhile, the thing is happening already. Okay, there's Fitbits and all these different things that people have. Bro, all they need is an emergency, and boom, we're in there already. It becomes mandatory at that point. Okay? And guess what? RFK is not a Christian or anything that he tries to portray. He believes in something known as the Baha'i faith. looked into that as well. All right, the Baha'i faith. All right, so all this pseudo-scientific religion shit that they got going, man, it's just a whole bunch of bullshit. All right, and ultimately, at the end of it all, they believe in profit, all right, making money, okay, and having total control. And if that means people are going to be homeless, they don't care. If that means people are going to be sick in the streets, they don't care. If that means people are going to die, they don't care. All right, people are going to be jobless, they don't care. So get ready, okay? It says, and that they should kill one another. So even going all the way back to the time of the Greeks, right? Scriptures tell you in the book of First Maccabees that evils increased once these Greeks got into power. So going all the way back to the Greeks with the Edomite power, all right? Then it goes down to the Romans, and then the first leg of the Roman Empire goes down, and then this time the second leg of the Roman Empire coming right back up, continuing with the same Greco-Roman philosophies, man, ideas, agendas. And of course, it's all going to be solidified for 2026 as they come into the 250th year of their so-called New World. All right, the American, corporation, that is. All right. So let's go back to the article. Let's run through this real quick. Okay, it says the reason why they are so accurate is because the ultra-wealthy elite have an enormous amount of influence over the course of human events. If they are absolutely determined to make something happen, there's a good chance that it's going to happen, right? Because they have control over it. They have power over it. All right. It says, ominously, it appears that they are anticipating a great deal of global chaos in 2026. Okay. Why? Because the groundwork has been laid for 2026. 2026 is you're 4 years removed from 2030, where you own nothing and you be happy. You don't think about to step onto it even more? It says the Economist has been around since 1843. But it has never had a very large readership among the general population. Ultimately, it is a publication by the elite and for the elite. Okay? According to Wiki, it has editorial offices all over the planet, but it is primarily based in the city of London. Ah, interesting, right? The city of London. Right? So you got the three spirits, that are three unclean spirits like frogs, right? and why do you think the Lord will give John that vision? Because frogs are an abomination. Okay? The frogs are an abominable creature. You know what I mean? And the Lord plagued Egypt, all right, with frogs. I think there was a video. Oh, shit, I don't remember. I think was it in Brazil? It might be AI. It might not be AI. Who knows? All right, but just the concept alone, there was a town in Brazil. I saw this video, I think, last week or so. And I think I might have sent it to my brother because I was like, yo, is this real? Because sometimes he's better off, like, he's able to pick out if it's AI or not. He sees it way better than I do. You know, sometimes I see some shit, I send it to him. He'd be like, yo, you know that's AI, right? I'm like, how do you know that? And he says, is this subtle cues. Sometimes I pick up on it. Most times I don't, you know, so I just lean on the spirit. But, you know, and that's why it's important to vet information as well. You know, certain videos that you see, you know, you got to vet it, you know, just for your own mind, before you even put it out there for anybody else to see, you know. So, but, you know, and that's in the town of Brazil. Out of nowhere, there was a video where out of nowhere you had frogs that were falling from the sky. Like it was raining frogs, you know, like literally raining frogs. And the people were going crazy. Like, oh, they were screaming, Pharaoh, Pharaoh. I was like, oh, shit. You see? So just seeing that alone, I said, damn, like that's an anomaly. That normally doesn't happen. Right? Oh, I was in the city and then it started raining frogs, man. Like, you're not going to hear no shit like that. If I heard some shit like that, I'd be like, what city is this? And why isn't it on the news? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Nigga, what? You see? But that's just an anomaly. But again, when I saw that, I was like, yo, that's disgusting, bro. Like frogs, oh, man. You know, but I thought about that and I said, oh, shit, the three unclean spirits like frogs. Okay? And one of those unclean spirits is the city of London, where the financial power of the world comes from. Okay, so you have the city of London, you have Vatican City, and then you have DC, District of Columbia. Okay, and city of London is responsible for the financial monetary control over the earth. Okay, you have the Vatican or Vatican City, right, which is the mother of all the spiritual abominations that be happening over here. Okay, and around the world, because most religions, including Islam, but most Christian denominations come from the Roman Catholic Church. All right, so the tenets the foundation of those beliefs are pretty much from the Roman Catholic Church. Whether you're Methodist, Pentecostal, Presbyterian, all right, whatever it is that you believe in, the concept that, some concept like hell, like all these denominations believe in hell. So-called Christians believe in that shit, right? The devil, with pitchfork horns and hell, and you go to hell if you do sin and all. They believe in that shit. But you see the Catholics go a little further. They got purgatory too. Let's not forget that. Yeah, they used to teach that shit. Well, they still do. But when I was in school, they used to teach that shit. Purgatory, a space that you go in there. I was like, I never read purgatory in the Bible though. Like, all I know is heaven and hell. So purgatory is like a different thing to me now. Now I asked the religion teacher, I'm like, so purgatory, like, I used to get that question every time on the test. I'll get that wrong. I never ever thought of. So one day I said, I keep getting this question wrong. Why do I keep getting it wrong? So I asked him, I said, the question you're asking right now, the only thing that I think of is heaven and hell. You got those two as options. You got 4 options on the question. It's multiple choice. And you got 4 options on this question. Where do sinners go to receive to receive a second chance to go to heaven? Some shit like that. And then you got heaven, hell, earth, and then purgatory. And in I'm like, if you go to heaven, that means you die. You up there. You ain't no second chance after that. If you go to hell, same thing. So I'm thinking earth. That's the only place you get a second chance to get right. And then, the Lord could send you to heaven or hell. So I used to pick earth. And I always got that shit wrong. And then I asked her, I said, listen, man. So then he says the answer is purgatory. Oh, man. I said, purgatory? I'd never even heard that word. I said, what does that even mean? He said, you da-da-da. So I went into the definition of it. I said, but how is this even a question on an exam, bro? You asking me this question? I've never... Purgatory? So that he explains purgatory. He says, well, it's a place where, once you die, it's a second place between heaven and hell, basically. Right? It's like you get a little bit of good, a little bit of bad in there. But it's the last chance. Like the Lord will send you over there. You're not really burning per se, but you kind of like in a small little confined space. You see what I'm saying? And it's there for you to think of all the sins you've committed and repent. And once you repent, you can go to heaven. But if you don't repent, you go to hell. So that's like your last chance. The decision-making box space, so to speak. Man, I said, man, fuck this shit, bro. Purgatory then. Fuck it. We just gonna put that just to pass the test. But I don't believe none of that shit. But this is what they teach. They teach this shit. Wasting people's time, bro. Man. But, just slack it for the rant there. Let's go back to the point I was making, which is the 3 unclean spirits like frogs, as is written in the book of Revelation, I think. Let's get that real quick. Revelation chapter. Slack it 1 second. Hey, when this does this. Slack it 1 second. There you go. Revelation 16 verse 13, it says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. Okay, so again, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, like I said, represents, you have the Vatican, the false prophet, which is the Vatican, right? Quite literally, when you go into the word Vatican, it goes to, I believe, the word vatis, which is soothsayer, right? Or a false prophet, and then the Khan goes into serpent. So Vatican is a false serpent or a soothsayer, okay, which is basically a false prophet, a soothsayer, right? So Vatican, the very word Vatican literally means false prophet or soothsayer. Okay, and of course you have the dragon, and then you have the beast, right? So the beast is what? NATO and the EU, okay? And who runs NATO and the EU? America through her military, known as from the Pentagon. All right, so you have the Navy, all the 6 branches of the whole military shit. All right, they head over NATO. Okay, that's why they deliver arms to different countries as a form of support, right? or these arms treaties and all that, they'd be doing this shit. And then of course you have the dragon, which is coming out of London, or the city of London, very specific, not London, but the city of London, all right, or London City, which is where the financial power comes from. Okay, so that's how they rule the world. All right, these so-called elites, that's how they rule the world. So if they want to go into any direction, they can do that. All right, they can easily do that through the influence, through the power that the Lord has given them. Okay, again, Job 9:24. All right, so let's finish the article here. All right, it says here, The Economist is a British news and current affairs journal published in a weekly print magazine format and daily on digital platforms. Variously referred to as a magazine and a newspaper, it publishes stories on topics that include economics, business, geopolitics, technology, and culture. Mostly written and edited in London, it has other editorial offices in the United States and in major cities in continental Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Again, the power. Okay, they run everything. But again, they say London, but we know it's the city of London. It's two different things. Okay. It says the publication prominently features data journalism and has a focus on interpretive analysis over original reporting on both criticism and acclaim. It says many of the wealthiest families in Europe are among the shareholders of the company, and Sir Evelyn Robert de Rothschild was actually the chairman from the early 1970s to the late 1980s. All right, so definitely over a decade. All right, from early 70s to late 80s, definitely over a decade, right? And they held a very large share. Okay, it says if you want to know about what the global elite are thinking, this is the publication you need to be reading. And the cover for the World Ahead 2026 issue is perhaps the most ominous that they have ever published. Okay, and of course I'm going to put that in the thumbnail so you can look at it, and you can just look it up as well, just to see the details of it. All right, but it says when you look at the cover, what stands out to you is the huge. It says there's a huge red tank on one side of the cover and another huge red tank on the other side of the cover. So again, that red, right? That red horse, right? So it says red that says at the top there are several large missiles that look like they are ready to be launched, and at the bottom there are more large missiles. Okay, so what does that say? That symbolizes nuclear war. Now, not only that, there's a video that I saw, I believe it was yesterday. Elder Pastor Hard put it up, but previously it was the Elder Manat Zagba that did a lesson on it, which was a dream that somebody had, and it was going into the destruction of America. That's quite literally what it was. And I said, yo, this is crazy how people are having these kind of dreams, man. It's very vivid. And I believe the person who had the dream was of the elect is of the elect because of what he saw. Right? The Lord ain't gonna show you, you get beamed up when you get picked up. You look at America being destroyed, and then you end up in the wilderness. It's kind of like, what I'm saying, like you got a glimpse of what's about to happen soon, kind of thing. So just by just that alone, he's probably of the elect, So the Lord's not going to show 2/3 that. Like 2/3 from their point of view, if they've seen a vision, what they're going to see? They're going to see themselves getting destroyed. You've had people see stuff like that where they're like, oh, they were in their house and the missiles hit, and then boom, like they don't remember everything else after that. They got destroyed. Okay, but so it says also right in the middle we see two enormous swords that are crossed. Ooh, right, swords that are crossed. Let's read. So we read that in Revelation 6 verse 4 says, and there went out another horse that was red, right? And the power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So that depiction alone just embodies this precept. Okay? It embodies the precept, man. The huge red tanks on each side, the missiles, right? And in the middle of it, you got two enormous swords that are crossed. Like, you know what I'm saying? X out, right? This is clearly meant to symbolize war. Okay, but war on who? Right? War by who on who? Revelation 12 and 12. Okay? Revelation 12 verse 12. Let's get that real quick. Let's see if we can get that real quick. Let's see. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. What does that tell in the book of Ezekiel? That the Lord says, what? A sword is sharpened, it is sharpened, and is given into the hands of the slayer. All right, it's furbished and given into the hands of the slayer. So that's all symbolized in war. You got the Department of War, okay? We're in the time of war. As it tells you in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, a time for everything. All right, there's a time for everything underneath the sun. Okay, it says, obviously, they believe that war will continue to be a major theme in 2026. And that is something that I have been consistently warning about. Not just you. All right, not just you, man. It says that they also seem to think that certain individuals will continue to play major roles in world affairs during the coming year. Right? Zelensky, because he's on it. Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Benjamin Netanyahu. All right. And of course, you got Trump in the middle, right? In the middle. So it's all symbolic. Okay. He's the one who's pushing. They're using him to, kind of apply pressure, so to speak. Okay. It says on Monday, Trump refused to rule out the possibility of sending U.S. ground troops into Venezuela. Personally, I think this is a trap. If you go to war with Venezuela, a large portion of our military forces will be tied up and our relations with the rest of the world will greatly suffer. Okay, and that's all part of weakening America as well. Just like Rome, they spread themselves thin. Okay, they got war everywhere, and then boom, next thing you know, they got invaded. It says, and Trump is also suggesting that military strikes in Mexico and Colombia could be coming. This guy's, hey. It says, on the other side of the globe, I expect the conflict between Israel and Iran to erupt again, right? Because they know peace. All right, this thing is going to keep on going. It'll stop, go. But ultimately, once the MOTB is made mandatory, it ain't going to be stopping no more after that. Okay, it's not going to be stopping no more after that. Okay, because the system is going to be so broken that the only thing they're going to think of doing is let's just destroy this shit and start all over again. And by destroying it, the Lord comes, delivers us, and he shackles them up. It's over with. All right. It says, I expect the war in Ukraine to continue to escalate, and I will be watching China very, very closely. Getting back to the magazine cover, I also noticed that there is a chart that seems to depict some sort of financial crash right under the cross swords. There you go. You got all these people getting laid off. You got all these governments. The Doge thing that they did, gutting the whole federal government and different roles that it played and how it benefited people. All these things are changing. Okay, they're taking away all the power, all the comfort, all right, away from the people. So they're setting you up for the great chipping. Straight up, man. You women are going to be brought down all the way down. Your nursing jobs, all this little petty shit that y'all be doing is no more. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to find a man so you can go serve that man so you can survive. Because you can't, Esau says you can't serve him no more. The way you think you thought. All right, the way you think you thought. He's telling you he doesn't need you like that no more. He got robots that can replace you. So now you need to go find you a man. Right? A new man. Because Esau no longer claiming you. So get ready for that too. All right. It says, it's not too far below that chart. And not too far below that chart, there is a red image of a broken dollar sign. Ooh. In addition, throughout the bottom half of the graphic, it looks like paper currency is falling everywhere. Obviously, they are trying to communicate something about the global economy, and certainly isn't good, right? Paper currency falling everywhere. In other words, they're about to do away with paper currency. That's symbolic. Okay, get ready for the digital overhaul, the digital overtake. Okay, everything's going to be digital. Digital ID this, digital ID that. CBDC this, CBDC that. Okay. It says, will 2026 be a year of financial collapse? We won't have to wait too long to find out. I also noticed two gigantic syringes near the bottom of the cover. And throughout the cover, there are lots of pills floating around. So guess what? Health. There's going to be a health crisis. Okay? There's going to be a health crisis. Pestilence. Okay? It says, are they suggesting another global pandemic is on the way? Well, I mean, we're about time, right? It's about damn time. It says, will 2026 be a year when people are taking shots and pills to try to protect themselves from a major pestilence that has broken out? We will see, right? It's just only a matter of time. We will see. Okay? But this is all biblical prophecy, man. It's all unfolding right now. But ultimately, the Lord says he's going to deliver the elect from all these things that's about to happen. Okay? So we're not shaken by it. If anything, we're excited. All right? We pray that the Lord intensifies the hells that's going to be hitting this place very soon. Okay? This is the book of Job, chapter 5. And verse 12, it says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And that's a beautiful thing. So these devils are not going to succeed, all right, in their plans. Yeah, they have the Economist magazine. They have all these plans and agendas, all right, but ultimately the Heavenly Father is the one who's going to put a monkey wrench in their plans. Okay, they're going to go as far as he wants them to go, right? As is written, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Okay, so we're going to jump down to verse 19. It says, he shall deliver, Job 5 verse 19 says, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles. Yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Okay, so yeah, they're coming down hard, but guess what? The Lord's going to deliver us from that, right? Because we're not the target, all right, in the Lord's scope, so to speak. All right, he already got his own victims and his own people that he's marked for death. Those people are going to get hit. But those who are marked for the exemption from that death, as is written in Ezekiel the 9th chapter, we're going to be good. Lord willing, we're going to be good. It says, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. That's crazy. Thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitation and shalt not sin. So you're going to have people, and sin is, in other words, you're not going to be missing anything. You're not going to be lacking. The Lord's going to take care of you. And that's what's going to make the men so valuable that all these women are going to see it and want to flock to us. Okay, but there's going to be a limitation to that flocking. All right, you can't just come flocking to a man of the Lord like that. You can't do that. All right, because we're heavily protected. Like, you just can't run up to a president. We're above presidents. Okay, prophets are way above presidents, because guess what? Presidents are subject to prophecy spoken by the prophets. Anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you're edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rcha Kodash, the water Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Until next time, Shalom.